If you've been in a relationship for more than, let's say, a few months, then you probably know what it's like to have some problems or some disagreements. Maybe you know all too well what it's like. Maybe your relationship is at the precipice, or you might say on the brink. Everything in your life starts to turn gray when your relationship isn't going well. Conflict and arguing and debating and defending yourself, and it can be very tough. It can be very overwhelming. What if I told you there's a way to not only understand more about yourself, but also the people in your life that you love and are trying to get along with? That's where the Enneagram comes in. It can be such a useful tool in helping us know more about ourselves, but also in helping us have healthy relationships with the people in our lives. You don't want to miss this. Before we get too far into this information, I want to remind you that I have a class starting this Thursday night, August 29th, live on Zoom. And you can join me for 6 weeks as we unpack how the Enneagram works together with relationship coaching. And if that schedule doesn't work for you, I have the class pre-recorded and on demand. I'll put a link to the description for both courses in the description below. And the Enneagram is a central part of this channel because it helps us know so much about ourselves, but also the people that we love and are trying to get along with in life. And today I want to dive deep into relationships and how it can be useful in helping us improve our relationships. Whether you're just starting out in a new relationship or whether you're trying to rekindle something that's not going so well. Not only improving our own relationships so that we can be an example. We're never perfect at this, but we become an example to the other couples in our life as to what relationships can be like. Whether you're trying to improve your own relationship or whether you want to come alongside of couples in need, look, there's no shortage of people having problems. There's just no shortage of people having problems. And the reality is relationships can be difficult. We live in an age where if I'm not happy with something, I just drop it and I move on. And I get that sometimes that's going to happen in relationships, but you know, what can we do to try to improve relationships and relationship health? That's what I want to focus on in this video. First thing we want to do is talk about the problems in relationships, or we could just say the problems of relationships. Think about it like this. When you get two people who are very different, who have very different perspective together, there's going to be a lot of times when they're very compatible. And those are good times when everything's going well. But there's also going to be times when they're not so compatible, when we have conflicts, difficulties, misunderstandings, miscommunications. And let's face it, sometimes just a lot of hurt feelings. And that can build up bitterness and resentment in the relationship. And before you know it, we feel unloved, unvalued, not cared for. And let me just say it like this. It's really hard to show love to somebody when you feel so unloved yourself. It's like your tank is empty. It's like you have nothing to give. And maybe even when you think about this person that you love, or they call you and you see their name on your phone, instead of feeling warmth and happiness and joy and excitement and all these things that you used to feel, now you just feel like you just dread having to be around them, or you dread being in their presence. It's not uncommon for me when I talk to couples that they feel stuck, they feel hopeless, they feel like they've been to counselors and they haven't ever seen anything really improve. And it's easy to feel overwhelmed or like there's no way forward or there's no clear way forward. And I want to help you understand that there is hope. There is absolutely hope. Now, there may be some relationships that it's just too far gone and there's no coming back. And in that case, sometimes you have to come alongside of couples to help them end well and to help them, come to a conclusion to know what they really want is to separate. And, that's tragic when it happens, but it does happen. But a lot of times, I'm convinced a lot of times couples can be saved, their marriage can be saved, their relationship can be saved. They just need a clear path forward. They need to change some of the plays they're running and watch the game start to change as they get knowledge and information that's useful. And they need to understand what's going on and how to turn things around. That's where you can help. You can absolutely help. But realize there's a lot that can be done over a kitchen table. There's a lot that can be done by a trusted friend who has good information and is willing to show up in a helpful way. The fact that you're watching this video indicates that you already have the willingness. You want relationships to improve, your own and everybody else's. I can remember early on when I was a young minister and I had gone to seminary and I had a lot of degrees and I felt very qualified and very trained and, I really understood what I was supposed to do. But I remember early on sitting with a couple that was having problems. Within just a few minutes, that meeting deteriorated into yelling and name calling. And I know I wanted out of there. I know that the husband did too, but I know that I just felt like inadequate in that moment. I felt like I'm overwhelmed. I'm lost in the weeds and I've only talked to them for 5-10 minutes. And I felt like, what do I do to help these people? How do I simmer this down? How do I calm this down and bring this couple back to their love for each other? I know I felt overwhelmed that day, and I don't know that I helped that couple very much, but it really helped me because that was the turning point for me. That's when I decided, who cares about all these degrees if you can't help somebody when they can't see their way forward? And I decided right then I was going to read every book I could get my hands on about relationships and marriage. And so I ordered a bookshelf filled with books, and I read as fast as I could, trying to shove as much information in my head. Now I needed something that worked. I needed something that when I was in that moment again, I would be prepared. And it took me a while. It took me some time. And I did a deep dive. And I want to share that information with you guys so that you are prepared to help whenever the need arises. Let me tell you, it's going to come up either in your own relationship or with the people in your life that you care about. And I want you to be prepared. I want you to be able to come alongside of couples and offer real solutions. Now, it's up to them whether or not they're going to act on those. You can't make people do what they should do. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And so you want to be as prepared as you can be for that moment so that you can give them the resources, the challenges, the tools, and you need a framework. You need a system. You need a formula that works for you. I want to share all of that with you guys and help you understand what makes a marriage strong and what will eventually erode it and deteriorate it to the point of no return. Okay, relationships start out usually with a lot of excitement, a lot of affection, a lot of attention. I mean, you remember what it was like when you met each other? You wanted to be around each other all the time. You legitimately were friends and you were friendly with each other, maybe a little too friendly sometimes. But relationships often deteriorate over time. Think of it as kind of like a plant that if it's not watered, what happens to the plant? I mean, it starts to wither up and die. And when relationships begin to wither and die, it's not pleasant. It's not comfortable. And we come as two people with different perspectives, different needs, baggage, different expectations. And sometimes because of that, we don't always interact well together. We misunderstand each other. We often fail to translate what each other is saying. We come with all these expectations, and maybe your partner hasn't been meeting your needs. You may not even know what your needs are. And how frustrating is that when you know you're not feeling loved, you're not really feeling connected, you know something's wrong, but you can't put your finger on why you feel this way? And when you come alongside of a couple and coach them, you're going to show them exactly why they feel the way they feel. You're going to lay it out in front of them and say, look, here's the needs we all have in a marriage. Here's the needs we all have in a relationship. When these needs are met, we feel loved, cared for, valued. We start to move away from having to, tough it out to be with one another to actually becoming friends and really enjoying each other. When these needs aren't met, it's pretty predictable what's going to happen. There's going to be selfish demands. There's going to be disrespectful judgments and disrespectful comments. There's going to be anger, and whether it's overt anger or, passive aggressive covert anger, there's dishonesty, there's all kinds of independent behavior. I mean, and then put on top of that, just all of the stupid, habits that we have that irritate one another. It's really hard to talk and have a relationship with someone when they're always, just stuck on their phone, for example. All of these things come together and they cripple a relationship and keep us from really knowing and caring and loving about one another. You know, what's sad is like most guys would take a bullet for their wife, but they won't sit down and have a difficult conversation. Like they don't know what to do. And when you don't know what to do, it's hard to get excited about trying to make it better when you just literally don't know what else to do. You're throwing your hands up in the air and you're saying, I can't. This person's unreasonable. This relationship is too far gone. I have nothing but frustration and heartache. And it can feel awful. I mean, it's a very sad, lonely place to be. The person that should be providing all of this in your life is like sucking everything out of your life. And everything turns gray. Everything is just, filtered through this difficult, painful relationship. You're in a cycle of hurt. Everybody's just taking their sides and you're withdrawn. And this misunderstanding just feels impossible to break. But, here's the thing. Relationships don't usually fall apart overnight. And it's usually through a process. And it's kind of a predictable process once you see it. And with the right tools and the right understanding, a lot of times relationships can be improved. That's what makes marriage coaching or counseling even possible is, it's really hard to resist someone who's loving you in a way that feels meaningful to you. And you could do that today. You could learn the steps to love your partner in a way that feels meaningful to them, and they learn to reciprocate that. Everything in your relationship can begin to change. And guys, it's amazing how fast, how quickly sometimes relationships can begin to improve when the love comes back, the affection comes back. It's amazing how quickly sometimes relationships can begin to improve. I just want to remind you there is hope. There absolutely is hope. So the Enneagram is useful here because the Enneagram just doesn't help us know more about ourselves, but it also helps us know more about our partner and helps us to learn how to interact with each other in a little bit healthier way, maybe a lot healthier way. Because we can understand each other's types and we see what the motivations are and the fears are, the strengths, the weaknesses, the challenges, the more we understand about each other's types, the more we're able to negotiate and speak in a way that is meaningful and understandable and relatable to the people in our lives that we love. For example, if you had a child that's a 5 and you have another child that's a 2, their needs are very different. Their expectations of what they want in a relationship from you is very different. You have one person, a 5, who doesn't want to need much, and then a 2 who really picks up on what people need and wants to meet those needs. One who may have a difficult time opening up and sharing affection, and the other whose whole language is affection. And so understanding each other's unique perspectives is a key ingredient in learning how to get along with each other and how to show love in a way that feels meaningful to one another. So learning to anticipate conflicts before they arise and understanding what your partner needs in order to feel loved. And then there's just some universal needs that every human being has. Now, we don't have them at the same level, and that's where it becomes dynamic because we need to understand each other as individuals. So you can't just read a book and say, well, this is what every woman wants or this is what every man wants, because your husband or your wife is not every woman. It's not every man. You're married to a unique person with their own experiences, their own trauma, their own background, and they have a personality type. Understanding that is maybe the key in being able to move a relationship forward in a way that actually works for you as a couple. It's not just some prescription that generally fits everybody, but what exactly fits your situation. That's where this gets exciting because we're dealing with people, individuals trying to come together. And every individual is unique and every perspective is unique. And you guys that know the Enneagram have this amazing ability to be able to understand that far better than most people out there. So I hope you take this call to action seriously. I spent my life trying to understand people, trying to understand what makes people tick, what makes us think the way we think and do what we do. And to compile all this information together and try to understand in order to improve relationships is an amazing, amazing, amazing thing. And I know that you care about people and you care about relationships. And whether you're seeking improvement for your own relationship or whether you want to come alongside of others and offer support and encouragement, maybe you already do that. Maybe you're a trained therapist already and you just want to add the Enneagram and its perspective into your practice. Whatever your situation is, look, I'm here and this channel is here to support you. I hope that you would sign up for my class so we can go deeper together. But this channel we're going to continue to pump out information and videos to help you and support you in your journey and in your relationship. Check out my marriage playlist, my relationship playlist, healthy relationship playlist. Check out these videos for continued support. And as always, thank you guys for checking out this video. I hope that something said will spark some interest in you and remind you that there is hope and encourage you that you can take action today to communicate better with your spouse, to move your relationship toward what you really want and be a lot more strategic in moving forward as a couple. And as always, be present to life. I'm here for you guys. I'll see you next time.